Hi, and welcome to Everybody's Bloomington. I'm your host, City Communications Director Danny Lopez, and this is the monthly program where we address the city issues that are important to you. Our goal is to see to it that you're informed, that you're in the know, and that you're up to speed on what your city leaders are doing to tackle the topics that drive our community. All of us have heard it said over and over again that Bloomington is a unique place, a different kind of community with a flavor distinct in Indiana and the Midwest. The culture scene that has been cultivated here has made this a destination for travelers, a home base for all sorts of artists, and a place where creativity and individualism are truly valued traits. But the City of Bloomington has taken a look at the arts from another perspective, an economic development one. And here with us today to discuss the role that the arts plays in our local economy, our City Economic and Sustainable Development Director, Denise Alano, welcome, and Assistant Economic Director for the Arts, Miah Michaelsen. I'm sorry, your titles are pretty long, but thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. So, I want to talk about, we're here to talk about the arts as economic development. That's going to be really our main focus. But prior to that, I want to get into kind of the genesis of the department itself. And let me start out by saying this is a fun topic for me because I know that there are people out there that sort of take for granted all the things that happen in this community and don't really know where they come from. So this is fun for people to get to know, where these things start out, where these ideas come from, and how they work their way through the system. So Denise, I'm going to start with you. Economic and sustainable development as a department really began this year, correct?
Right. That's right. Yeah, we were formed by legislation late in 2008, and really this has been our first year as a full-fledged department. Right,
and prior to that you were working directly under the mayor?
Yes.
Okay. So now you've got these whole host of initiatives that really you were tackling before anyway, but now you're taking them on from a new perspective, and we've got Miah here who handles everything that has to do with the arts and culture in Bloomington. And so I really appreciate both of you joining us. I want to start out by taking a look at really the history of arts as ED. And I think we have to start with BEAD and the formation of BEAD, but maybe we need to go even further back.
Yeah, sure. I think really the mission of the department is to drive enhancement of the quality of life in Bloomington, and we do that through a number of initiatives that are related. That you wouldn't necessarily think are related to economic development. We certainly do the traditional economic development of working to help businesses expand and grow here in Bloomington, and to attract new businesses. And those are things, job creation, where you think that's sort of the traditional economic development definition. But what Mayor Cruzan has done since the beginning of his administration is expand that definition of economic development so that it includes things like the arts. It includes green initiatives in sustainability, and that's why our department is named the Economic and Sustainable Development Department. It's a mouthful sometimes, because all of those things are related, and it's important to put a name to those things. And arts as economic development is probably one of our most visible quality of life initiatives.
And is this something that's unique? I know that we've had conversations, and Miah, you've told me, this isn't something that happens in a lot of places in terms of formally using the arts as a foundation for the local economy, or as one foundation for the local economy.
Generally, when you find an arts staffer on city staff, it's in a Department of Cultural Affairs, or it's related to Parks and Recreation or something like that. It's rare, and in fact, I don't know that there's another community certainly of this size that has arts as part of their economic development focus. So it's very unique, but again, as Denise has stated, it really reflects the community. And what we've seen nationally with other communities, they're beginning to focus their economic development strategies to align with their community values much more. And certainly Bloomington and Mayor Cruzan have been in the vanguard of that, really looking at economic development through a specific lens of what the values are of the community and what the strengths and assets are in the community, and certainly arts is a part of that.
And when you started building, you talk about things like the Bloomington Entertainment and Arts District. When you started piecing together these types of initiatives, where what other cities were you looking at as models for this?
There are quite a few. There are about 100 cultural districts, more or less, scattered around the country. I think the model that the team looked at most carefully was the Paducah, Kentucky Artist Relocation Program. And that was an example of a community that had a sort of dilapidated downtown area, and they wanted to spur some business development, and they came up with the idea of putting together an artist relocation program where they put incentives together to encourage artists to relocate there, incentives to purchase property, to redevelop, to open new businesses, and so forth. And they were very successful in relocating artists. And I think that seeing what they did in that community sort of spurred the idea of, oh, well, you know, what an interesting idea, using arts again on a specific economic development task. Now, Paducah's program was designed to meet the needs of Paducah, which was to revitalize a blighted area. Bloomington, we don't have that issue in our downtown. We have a very vibrant, active, engaged, destination downtown. And so what we were looking to do needed to be much more tailored to what we had. And what we have is a lot of cultural assets, obviously, a lot of performing spaces, great live music scene, a lot of theater, visual artists, a gallery scene, great festivals that were already here, Indiana University, obviously, with their Jacobs School of Music and Theater Department. I mean, we are a community that has art by the barrelfuls, literally. And so our strategy for what Bede needed to be, we felt like, was a different type of district development program than what a community like Paducah did. And so we're much more focused on building capacity, building audiences, promoting locally and regionally and nationally, and doing some sort of specific projects that are focused on, that meet specific needs of downtown. But we didn't really need to relocate 75 artists to downtown to revitalize areas. So our strategies and our program is much different, and again reflects the particular assets we have in our community.
You talked at the beginning about how Bloomington is unique, and that's certainly something that we found as we were researching other communities, is that most of them developed an arts district or a cultural district in response to a need to revitalize and to bolster an area, where for Bloomington it's coming from a position of strength. It's how can we promote and strengthen the assets that we have and bring more people in to enjoy them.
So, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You see in our strategic plan and in some of the programming that we've done thus far, we are focused on capacity building. Mm-hmm. We are doing, providing opportunities for artists and arts organizations to do to learn through lectures and programs and workshops and webinars and grants for capacity building and so forth. That's really a major focus of ours, because again, we've got the assets here. We just need to sort of undergird with some additional support for them. Again, via whether or not it's audience development or assistance in marketing and so forth. So.
Well, and one of the nice things that we've seen it when we talked last week about the Beeline, last month about the Beeline, and we had our grand opening, and we've had, for all our planning projects. I mean, this is a unlike a lot of communities, it's a highly engaged. There's a highly engaged population here, and so one of the questions I have is, in looking at how you built your strategic plan for Bede and sitting down and thinking about, okay, these are the steps that that we need to take in order to get from here to here. How did you work with the public? How did you work with artists on that? Because I would assume that could be a bit challenging. You have a lot of different, particularly with the arts, you have a lot of different perspectives. You have people that have different ideas about what things should be and how they should run. So incorporating all of those ideas and bringing that together must be a challenge. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit the process of building that strategic plan and some of the things that you looked for when you were thinking, okay, where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 2 years?